Welcome back to a chart nerd technical analysis video. Today we will be discussing VELO. Now there's a very specific pattern at play here that I wanted to cover on the daily time frame that might give the game away for what sort of direction VELO may be heading next in the near short term. Now there's a lot of indecisiveness I've noticed within the overall space at the moment, especially on X, and people are very unsure whether the markets are going to continue higher or whether we're going to see a sort of crash in the near short term. So for me right now, as a personal outlook, I am a little bit sidelined until I see a decision. Now, specifically looking at VELO itself, there's a very important pattern I do want to analyze. So without further ado, I do hope you enjoy the content. Nothing that I say is financial advice. Let's dive in. So analyzing VELO here on the daily time frame, I do believe we are caught between a level of resistance and a level of support within a horizontal channel. Now, a horizontal channel is a neutral based pattern. So it doesn't matter where you're forming it, at a top after a pump, at a bottom after a crash, or if you're just going sideways in the market, these channels are possible wherever, whenever. Now we're forming this on the daily time frame, and this has been in play for around 6 weeks. So we started coming into the formation from early December, and we're now entering into early January. So in fact, it's been around about 32 days, so just over a month, do forgive me. Now when you're coming up to the peaks here, this looks like where you're sort of about to come into that resistance level, and we're failing to break out basically, and we've had 3 attempts on this point of resistance where the bears have taken control, and we've struggled to break through this resistance. So these are our highs and our local resistance points, which sits at an average of 0.033. Now if you look at our support, which we've been holding since the 5th of December, you will see that we've had 1, 2, 3 points of contact also on support. So we've had 3 points of contact on resistance and 3 points of contact on support. Now when we're down at support, this is where the bulls are taking control and trying to get back to relief of the resistance to outdo the bears. But as you can see, this is, as I said, is a neutral pattern. We haven't had a confirmational break yet, and this is why for now I am sidelined on VELO. And I think the overall market, again, Bitcoin is still very indecisive whether it wants to take out 100K again or whether it wants to lose 90K. VELO is very indecisive on whether it wants to break out of 0.033 or whether it wants to lose 0.022. So I think we just need to sort of have a bit of a breather, allow the chart to do what it wants to do and make a decision. The overall outlook here is if we can get a higher low form and take out this resistance, this gives confirmation, or more so of a confirmational break to the upside. Or if we can come down and we lose support and hit our heads on it, this gives more of a confirmation for a breakout to the downside. So we're sort of just caught between a rock and a hard place, and I think it's very important here to wait for a decision. Again, nothing that I say is financial advice. And just to sort of go over this pattern, if we go over to Chart Mojo on X here, and he sort of explains this pattern a little bit more. And again, you can see that we're in a very similar position here. In fact, it's almost symmetrical to what's going on, which again gives more confirmation that we are just in this neutral pattern that's going sideways, awaiting a decision. So what we generally tend to see is 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact on resistance and 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact on support. Now if we go over to VELO, we've had 1, 2, 3 points of contact on support and 1, 2, 3 points of contact on resistance. Admittedly, you'd say there's multiple points of contact here, but overall this was one large cluster point that we tried to break out of before coming back down to support, so it only really counts as one valid point. So really and truly, we're missing a 4th point of resistance and we're missing a 4th point of support. So this play, theoretically, is still in progress, and we're sort of caught between this rock and a hard place, somewhere in the middle here. So I think we're either trying to get to the 4th point of resistance or come down for the 4th point of support. And from this local low of 2.3, we've had the rally up towards resistance but have not come back to it yet. Initially, we have put in a lower high right now compared to this high right here, which isn't too good a sign because admittedly the highs are getting lower over time. But again, nothing I don't think is going to be a guaranteed play until this support is either lost or this resistance is broken. So for now, I'm pretty much sidelined on the VELO price action. Now, just to give a little bit more of an outlook, again, here is an example where this chart came in from an uptrend, had the consolidation, and then returned to its continued its uptrend higher. So if we was to look at VELO, for example, and where we've come from in this trend direction, initially we've had the same sort of action. We've come up from an uptrend into this horizontal channel, waiting for a break. Is this going to continue higher, just like the example in the charts here where we've come up, consolidated, and gone higher? I think, again, I'm neutral, but the fact that we've formed this pattern from a prior uptrend is a relatively bullish signal. Again, it doesn't confirm that we are going to break bullish to the upside, but from the if we had come from a downtrend into this pattern, I think it would have given more confluence of a break to the downside. But because we've come from an uptrend and are consolidating, it gives more confluence, I think, to the upside. But again, this is a neutral pattern, and we do have to monitor both cases, which is why I'm saying wait for a break of support or a break of resistance for a confirmational direction. Now, just a little bit more. Here's another example from a 1 hour time frame. Again, it can happen on any sort of time frame. We've got it here on the daily. But looking at the channel and its explanation, again, it says here it is a neutral pattern and it can move in both directions. The move can come in both directions. It can form in all circumstances, be it top, bottom, or continuation. And again, it looks like we are either at a top or a continuation. We're definitely not at a bottom, are we? So it's one of the two here, and that's what we're looking for. Third is a horizontal line is plotted by connecting the same high forming resistance, and a horizontal line is plotted by connecting the same low support, which is here's our resistance and here's our lows. And then when resistance zone is taken out, we see breakout, and if support zone is taken out, then we see a breakdown. So it's literally just validating the fact that we need to wait for a break of resistance for a good upside target or a breakdown of support to a lower target. In horizontal channel, one can also take contra trade with small stop loss and target of opposite zone. Again, I'm not looking at this for a trading perspective anyways, but if we was to look at for a breakout target, and if VELO was to come out and actually take this resistance out, the target that we actually monitor is from the resistance line to support. And when you do sort of get a breakout of resistance or support, this is how we get our target. So the breakout target to the upside would put VELO at a price of 0.047, and a breakout target to the downside, if we lost support, would put VELO at 0.015. So our key support levels to maintain here is 0.022, and the key levels of resistance to break is 0.033. So I'm simply on the sidelines waiting for this pattern to play out, guys. I haven't been as active over the last few days because there's really not that much to monitor until a decision comes from this pattern. Now, if I'm to remove everything here and focus specifically on some indicators, so let's have a look, for example, at the EMAs here. Now, we've got the 20 and the 55, which kind of help guide us or we use this as a tool for guidance within an uptrend. So you can see when we're above this yellow line and hovering above it and coming back to support and then getting the breakout, this indicates we're in a strong uptrend. And then you've got the 55 below, which acts as support if we lose the 20 and as a lifeline for VELO moving forward. So, and again, it's the same in a downtrend. When you hit your heads on these EMAs and you form the crosses, a death cross, and keep hitting your heads and you're struggling to get back above them, this is a downtrend. When you're above them and holding them as support, this is an uptrend. So what I'm trying to point at here is on the macro time frame, if I'm not wrong, we're going to check now. I do believe that on majority of time frames, VELO is above its key EMA. So this is a very good sign. So looking at the daily, for example, even now, we're still sitting above our daily 20 EMA, which is a good sign. And we've had this high, which is admittedly lower than the previous highs, but now we're coming back again for another 20 EMA retest. Will it hold is the question. So that 20 EMA currently sits at 0.0277 and may act as a level of support moving forward. But my key point here is we're above both of these EMAs at the moment, and as long as we're above either or on any of these given time frames from the daily onwards, it's a healthy sign. So the daily is a tick right now. We've got the we're above the daily 20 EMA or above the daily 55. Now if we zoom out to the weekly, you'll notice it's the same situation here where VELO is yet again above its daily 20 and above its daily 25 from when we had that bull cross back in November, which we spoke so highly about forming, which has led to this impulsive move. And then if we look at the monthly here, we don't actually have the 55 for data, but again, this is why I say it's so important that this is the last EMA to take out before VELO really sees that sort of explosive price action to the upside, because this is the last EMA on the monthly time frame to reclaim to indicate that really bullish signal. Now, if you've been following along with my previous videos as well, we have been analyzing the 10 EMA, where VELO is trying to form its first ever monthly bullish cross since its downtrend. So we've got the formation of this EMA. This EMA is dragging up here, this 10 EMA, and this 20 is sort of going sideways, and we're getting pushed up and we're coiling between these two EMAs waiting for a decision. So again, this is why I think over the last 3 to 4 weeks for VELO, we've just been consolidating because we're caught between the 10 and the 20 EMA on the monthly time frame. Now again, this is just compression and it generally leads to expansion. And again, we're just waiting for the confirmation of the daily horizontal channel that we was analyzing before to give us that sort of confirmation of which way we're looking for the breakdown. Now again, you can use the 10 on the daily time frame as well as a level of support, which we're even still in fact above now on the daily, and the 10 sits at 0.0286. So if we lose the 10 EMA on the daily, I think it gives more confidence that we're going to come down to the 20 at a minimum. But my overall point was here, the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, we are above key 20 and 55 EMAs. The monthly is where we just need to reclaim that 20, and which is why we're seeing this sort of accumulation over the past 4 to 5 weeks. So I hope you enjoy the content today. Key things to take away: we're waiting for the break of support at 0.022 from the horizontal channel, or we're waiting for a break of resistance at 0.033 in order to push on to higher targets. So I hope you've enjoyed the content, guys. From Chart Nerd TA, take care, peace out.